North London forever, whatever the weather.
So I just had a little look and it was 0-0. And I completely forgot about it. And then I see it 3-0. What a win for you boys.
Do you know what it
Where
was?
was you with Frankie Warren, was you?
To be fair, I've been in Frank's box a few times this year, but not this time.
Not tonight, no.
I had my own season ticket tonight.
I was on a little group chat with Turkey and Frank Warren and George. And there was a bit of banter going on before the game. And then Warren was enjoying himself after.
Oh, Warren would have,
Gloating on the 3-0.
yeah, Warren would have been in his element tonight, definitely. Um, so a bit of confusing about your passion for football because I'm not never convinced that you're like fully invested into football.
Well, I'm not. I mean, that's why. Listen.
Who's your team? Who is your team?
I had a Spurs season ticket for about 3 years,
Yeah,
from the age of probably like I want to say 14 to 17, something like that.
right.
I'm talking Klinsmann, Torsvek, Gaza, Popescu, Dean Austin, Justin Edinburgh,
Oh, right.
David Howes, Vinny Samways. Like that's my era. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's my era. So, but then we bought Leyton Orient,
right.
so everything shifted there, and then I spent I don't know, 15, 16 years at Orient, home and away. Some seasons, like nearly every game.
Did you go
So
to the
that
games at Orient?
Orient, yeah,
Did you
every
go
home
away?
game.
Did you go away?
What?
Did you go away at Orient?
Yeah, when we went up, I went to like a huge proportion of away games. They were like my best days. There's nothing like, and also with all due respect to other teams we were playing, sometimes it ain't the most glamorous trip, but going there, getting the win. Yeah, we had some great years at Orient, and now actually Bazza, my old man, has actually bought a stake in Brentwood Football Club.
Okay.
And he absolutely loves it. He don't stop talking about, whoa, not going to believe I went over there, 600 people over there, we won, blah, 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 blah. So they're doing really well as well. So,
Can you name one Brentwood player?
Dave.
Oh, good player. He's a good player. I will say that. Dave's on form this season.
No, Dave's up front, Jimmy's at the back, and Bobby, he's down the left. You know what I mean? Decent set of lads.
Okay, that's enough football talk. Let's talk boxing. Right, so I don't know. I ain't really got an order of stuff to talk to you about, but the most intriguing thing is what on earth is going on with Dimitri Bivol?
Pretty straightforward, really. We have a long-standing relationship with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. We've had 4 fights in Saudi now. And when we fought Artur Beterbiev the first time in October and lost that close decision, His Excellency went above and beyond and secured the rematch within, 4 or 5 months. When we signed for the rematch, we gave His Excellency the right to do the third fight because it's only fair for Artur Beterbiev. So that's it, really. I mean, we were never going to, one thing, you can say whatever you want about me, and you can definitely say it about Dimitri Bivol. We stand by our word in business, and we stood on business and said, that's what we're doing. I feel like there was a lot of people trying to put pressure on for us to make another move. I even saw people coming out saying, Dimitri Bivol was offered 8 million. So what? With all due respect, he's made more than that for his fights with Artur Beterbiev. But also, it doesn't matter whether we were offered 20 million. Contractually, we couldn't do it. And we wouldn't have done it anyway. And we would never have tried to get out of it. So His Excellency has given Dimitri unbelievable opportunities. And of course, the rematch that he did as well, he went above and beyond. And we will do the third fight with Artur Beterbiev and we'll stand by our word. So, yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I kind of feel like there's been a little bit of an agenda against Dimitri Bivol. I don't see why there's been this big rush to get him to fight his WBC mandatory. I mean, actually, I think the IBF mandatory is first. But it was like, right, you've got to fight David Benavidez. Okay, well, you know, in every organisation, especially when you win a belt, there was no order pre the fight. So all of a sudden, Dimitri Bivol wins the belt, and it's like, you must fight David Benavidez next. Like, all right, well, we've won the belt. Are we not allowed to have a defence first? And by the way, not only are we not allowed to have a defence first, it's an undisputed fight, and it's the biggest fight in the division. Will you not allow that? It's like, no, you've got to fight him. And now it's the first bid. It's just like, okay, well, obviously we can't do it because contractually we can't do it, and we've given our word that we'll fight the third fight. So it's pretty straightforward, really. I was just quite surprised by not necessarily agendas, but negativity from certain areas that should just acknowledge. It's very straightforward. We did a deal with His Excellency to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to fight Arthur again. Thank you, Arthur. And if we win, we will give you the opportunity to run it back. It's one apiece. And that's where we are.
Right. So just to give people a little bit of context, obviously, the WBC title now has been vacated, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I've always been on the understanding of a unification or an undisputed fight kind of trumps kind of mandatory situation or any other kind of situation. So in terms of this with the WBC, who's stopping? Is it Maurizio Sulaiman that's...
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I think there's been conversations between Pat English, Dimitri's lawyer, and the WBC, but it was quite aggressive with the order. It wasn't, you know. And I'm not having a go at Maurizio Sulaiman, but I just feel like we all know that those two fights were the best fights the division's seen for over a decade.
Clearly.
Right?
Yeah.
The first fight incredible, the second fight incredible, the third fight incredible. So good for boxing. All the belts together. Yeah. And I just feel like Benavidez has just fought. He fought David Morrell, who was a WBA regular champion, I believe, at super middleweight. Now all of a sudden it's the mandatory. You've got to fight him, and you've got to fight him or vacate. And it's like, and I don't get all this public stuff, you know, for people to come out and say, well, he was offered 8 million and he still didn't take it. I mean, what's he doing? It's like, no, that's not the point. The point is we're contracted for the third fight. But I don't know, you know, for me, I really believe that the belt should have been on the line for that third fight. But I also understand the pressure the governing bodies are on, the politics that are involved. And as we saw with Fury against Usyk with the rematch, not all the belts were on the line there for undisputed. So, you know, for me, disappointing, but doesn't really matter, if I'm honest.
Maybe not a question for you, but I don't know, you can make comment on it. Is there an issue between the WBC and Saudi, like in Turkey? Because obviously we've seen Maurizio Sulaiman in the last month or so makes kind of certain comments, etc. So is there a play there with a little... Is there?
Well, I mean, that's not a question for me. The answer is I don't know. I mean, obviously the WBC have a close relationship with Saudi. They have the Grand Prix, you know, going on, and that's coming up. So, but you know, there's obviously His Excellency runs the Ring magazine and the Ring magazine belt, and you know, he will say that is the greatest belt in boxing. And Maurizio Sulaiman he's extremely passionate. Yeah, he's extremely passionate that the WBC belt is the number one belt in boxing.
But he's also made comments regarding the Ring magazine belt saying X, Y, Z. So
yeah, so I'm staying out of it.
All right, but, in your opinion.
In my opinion, I can understand that, you know, boxing is a sport and a business that involves ego. Might not even be the right word. Pride might be a word, you know, and people will push what they believe in. And you don't have to always listen. I've had some blazing rounds with Turkey, but 95% of the time we get on great. But I'm not going to, you know, he just like if I pissed him off with something, he'd give it to me both barrels. And the same vice versa. Maybe not quite strong, but, you know, we're all passionate about what we do and we stand by our beliefs and we don't agree with everything, you know?
let me ask your opinion about this then, just to kind of close off on this, right? So, just as a boxing fan, I've always led to believe that you've got like the four main governing bodies, yeah? We know which ones they are. But if you've got the Ring magazine, it kind of not elevates you above the four, but the Ring magazine is like has always been. If you've got that belt, it
Yeah.
literally you are the
So
best in
yeah,
that.
but I would say that whoever has the Ring magazine belt,
Yeah,
there is a lot more chance that that person actually is the number one in the division versus the individual belt holders, whoever they may be. Do you
that,
understand what I'm saying?
that's what I
So,
think.
so like if you are the Ring magazine, like if you look at all the champions,
Yeah,
the Ring magazine champions,
yeah,
generally they will be the
yeah,
number one in the division, and there won't be any arguments,
yeah. I agree.
right? Heavyweight, Alexander Usyk, we all agree.
Yeah,
Cruiserweight, Jai Opetaia, we all agree.
yeah,
Light heavyweight, Dimitri Bivol, we all agree. Super middleweight, Canelo Alvarez, we all agree.
yeah.
Right? So it's not, and the list goes on. So I think, and I think what people like about the Ring magazine is there is no sanction fees. There is no agenda. There is, it is just a group of people, boxing minds, that come together that decide who is the best and who's ranked where. No one's ever going to agree with all the rankings. But let's be honest, if you own the Ring magazine belt, you are the best in the division.
Correct.
And that's fact.
Do you think the people that head the other organisations have got an issue with that? Not
I
necessarily,
think
but
that
all of them. Do you
I
think?
think I think that previously the Ring magazine, which was owned by Golden Boy, wasn't as active and wasn't as vocal. And I think it wasn't seen as a threat to the other governing bodies because it was a magazine and it was just a quiet group of journalists that sort of pottered along and everybody respected it, but it's over there. Now it's extremely powerful and it has a bigger voice and it has a bigger platform. So, yeah, I think it would put people's noses out of joint.
Politics, eh? You're saying nothing.
If they
Of
speak, I'm in trouble.
course. All right, let's move on from there anyway. Just obviously just a reflection on the weekend, Ed. You could like wrap everything up together from
Yeah, love the show. I
yeah,
mean,
Frank Warren's debut.
now I can say that I actually watched the Frank Warren show and I loved it and it was on the Zone and there's lots to talk about. I mean, you want to start with David Adelaide against TKV? I mean, that seems to be a
Oh,
massive.
let's go, let's go, let's go. Go on.
So I was fascinated by what happened. If I'm honest, like I thought the fight was very scrappy. I mean, I was quite surprised to hear people say that TKV was cruising. I mean, I don't. That's not quite what I saw. I thought it was very messy. I think he may have been in front of the fight. The ref says break twice. For me, it's the striking of the hand. Do you know what I mean? Like when you touch the fighter, you're kind of adding an additional layer of instruction, right? Break, boom. Like you can say break and you can keep working. And by the way, if you say break and you keep working, you should be warned for the fact that you are working when the referee said break. What's happened here is he said break twice. He's pulled the hand down and he's caught him with a left hook. I said to Johnny Fisher, actually, if you watch the Johnny Fisher knockdown against Dave Allen, it was very similar. And I said to Johnny, that was the same as yours. He went, no, Dave Allen said break. Dave Allen said to him, break, Johnny. And Johnny, with his inexperience, went, oh, all right, stepped back with his hands down and got hit by a left hook. And that's really what happened. But, what do you do in that instance? So what should the ref have done? The ref should have the ref thought about it. So he got dropped and the ref kind of started shaking his head as if to say, you've hit him on the break.
Yeah.
And then just started counting. I mean, really what the ref should have done is given him the time to recover and then gone over to Adelaide and said, "Look, you hit him on the break." For me, I kind of feel like a disqualification is very strong at that point. But I guess what the ref should have done is given him the time to recover, gone over, warned Adelaide. And then, but it's the heat of the moment. You've got to protect yourself at all times. But that whole protect yourself at all times, I get it. But when the ref says break twice, you do have the right to step back. I mean, when you step back, you should be protecting yourself. But I thought TKV was very unlucky. Very unlucky.
Have you seen? Obviously, there's loads of angles of the footage, etc. I mean, one that I will ask you about is that before Adelaide kind of put that decisive punch in, that kind of was influential in the whole result of the fight, TKV was still going to the body. You seen that?
No, I mean,
I've just.
I don't know. I mean, the reality is I get arguments from all sides. I mean, you've got two great trainers there. You've got Adam Booth, you've got Ben Davison. They're all going to have their opinion. It's also a fight, right? You can't expect it all to be perfect and everybody to break when told and not, people are in there, they're fighting, they're letting their hands go at all times. So I just feel like with break twice and with the slapping of the hand, when the ref does that to the hand, you're basically saying, let go of him. And you've got break twice and then get your hand off him. So you break and step back. But, did he break? By throwing the punch. I mean, if their arms are locked up, break, you've got to be free to throw the punch. When you say break, what do? Well, automatically you're not allowed to hit each other once you step back or you come out of the clinch. But for me, I don't think the ref should have counted.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. But would TKV have recovered because he was gone? But if he had the minutes, would he have recovered? I don't feel like a disqualification was necessarily the one. You also saw TKV do the same thing earlier in the fight.
Yes, correct.
Right. So he didn't get. I mean, he got told off. But really, what TKV did is really what the ref should have done to Adelaide, which is to warn him and say, don't do that again. And if you're warning someone and you're telling them not to do it again, you can't count him out at the same time if you're acknowledging that it's a foul or he shouldn't have done it. It's very difficult for these refs, I mean, look, I don't always, obviously you don't always agree with refs and judges, but it's very difficult in a fight in the heat of the moment. You've got to make a decision. It goes down. What are you going to do? You're going to count, or are you going to save time, and then go about your business? It's very difficult.
Look, just
and then I saw Frank's piece about that same ref had it 98-92 to Hrgovic, and I thought the scores were quite interesting in that fight.
just to close off on Adelaide and TKV, it sounds like both kind of camps are probably going to, at some point, look to do a rematch for very different reasons. But how big is that rematch in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, the fight wasn't particularly good. I mean, let's be honest. It wasn't a great fight. But there's great now. I mean, to be honest with you, I think if I was the promoter, I'd do it again anyway. I mean, I don't see what else is immediately next for Adelaide. Maybe the winner of Fisher against Allen, But I think that fight now, off the back of that, is quite an interesting fight, and I think it's probably one that should get made.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I'm not comparing it to Fisher Allen, but it does kind of maybe a Wembley Arena, Copper Box, if they wanted to headline that.
What, the rematch? Yeah, maybe. I mean, the only problem is, like I said, it wasn't a tremendous fight at the time. It was messy. But listen, the next one I'm sure will be better. And I think who else are they going to fight right now? Yeah. I'd do the rematch.
Hrgovic, Joyce, obviously, Hrgovic getting the win now. A lot of questions are now about whether Joyce should carry on, etc. So, your opinion about that?
Yeah, my opinion is I enjoyed the fight. I mean, I don't think it was a textbook heavyweight classic, but it was a good all-action fight. And I've got to give respect to Joe Joyce. I thought actually, and I'm giving him respect, but I don't mean this disrespectfully. I thought he was a lot less shot than I thought, right? And I don't know whether that was because maybe Hrgović isn't quite the puncher that we thought he was. And he also uses open hand a lot, especially with the left hand. But I thought Joe Joyce done well. I thought he was in the fight. I thought he never stopped trying. And you know what? I've got to say, it's a very difficult decision for Joe Joyce because he's losing these fights. But, take the Zhang fights away. I mean, the Chisora fight, without that knockdown, it's a fight that he could have won. I actually thought it was 7-3 or 6-4 against Hrgović. I thought it was a competitive fight. And it wasn't like he looked terrible. And he was getting caught and he was all over the place. But also, you have to acknowledge it's 4 defeats in 5. It's not, you can't just say, oh, I'll just go again. And I knew, I was watching the fight. I was actually watching it with my old man. And I said, I bet in the interview, he says, I'll be back. Because that's what Joe loves to do. He loves to fight. And, a lot of these guys, they don't know anything else. And it's the thought of not having boxing in your life and the thought of not having a camp in your life, it's very daunting. And if you feel like you're still competitive, but you've got to ask yourself, what's the level that you're going to fight at? And also the money you're going to fight for. Because the money's going to go down significantly. And who are you going to fight? What are you going to do? Go back to British title level? Are you going to fight a David Adelaide? Are you going to fight a Fraser Clark? Or do you want to be in those fights for small money compared to what you've made? That's a decision for Joe. But I thought he was very brave, and I thought he put up a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously the two main talking points from the card, but in general, yeah, Frank Warren's first show on DAZN, decent crowd in there at the card.
Good vibes, good broadcast, good fights. Listen, I think we're in a great position. I mean, I've always championed DAZN. I think the platform's unbelievable. We've got the massive fight this Saturday, Ennis against Stanionis, and I've always felt that before Frank Warren came on the platform, the product was fantastic. Now you've got Frank, you've got Queensbury, you've got all his stable. You're going to see huge domestic fights. The international schedule's better than ever. I think DAZN's in a wonderful place, and I really enjoyed the show.
Right, let's go on to your show this week. Boots against Stanionis. Talk to me, Terry. Talk to me.
I'm absolutely pumped for this fight. Like, I've realised that I am happy in myself when we've got a great show. Right? So I've been buzzing about Boots Stanionis since it was signed, but particularly over the last couple of weeks, because there's something special about Atlantic City. There's something special about Boardwalk Hall. And there's something special about the best be the best. And that's what Boots against Stanionis is. IBF, WBA, Ring Magazine. We talk about that. This is one of those fights that tells you unequivocally who the number one in the division is. It's what we want. And it's such a brilliant style matchup. Stanionis is a beast. All action, tremendous work rate. And Ennis, for me, is a pound-for-pound quality fighter. But he's under big pressure here. He's got to shine on Saturday night. Because if he performs like he did against Chudazian, maybe a little bit under-motivated, he's going to have a very, very tough night against Stanionis. But I believe that this is the kind of fight where greatness will truly shine. And I believe that Jerome Boots Ennis will make a statement on Saturday. And you look at those, you talk about that Ring Magazine championship, the welterweights that have won that belt, in the last 3 decades, 4 decades, you're talking about Mayweather, Crawford, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson. I mean, like absolute legends of the sport. And I believe Boots has the ability to do it, but I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait for that fight. I'm so excited for that fight. It's a massive fight for DAZN, no pay-per-view. You've got Ray Ford against Matisse, great fight. You've got Amari Jones, the Olympian, back out again. You've got a great fight, Cardenas against Carto. You've got Giasov on there as well. You've got Zaquin Moses. It's a brilliant night, and buzzing to get to Atlantic City.
Can you just run me through who else is on the card?
I just did that, but I'll do it again if you want. You got Ray Ford against Matisse. Were you even listening?
I were, but you did go deep.
Mate, I'm here giving it the big sell. I mean, it's like fucking poetry listening to me. It's like watching fucking Da Vinci put something together, and you're just like, well, Arsenal won 3-0, so I'm sweet as a nut. Do you know what I mean? Listen, mate, it's Boots against Stanionis in front of 9,000. We will be sold out at the Boardwalk Hall. We've got Raymond Savage Ford. One win for him, and he will fight Nunes for the world title when he beats Rikishi in Japan coming up in May. He's fighting the fellow American, Thomas Matisse. Arturo Cardenas against Kato, local boy. Hell of a war. Amari Jones, best US prospect, bar none. Shakram Giasov in a great fight. Zaquin Moses. He's going to be an unbelievable night.
You did mention all that beforehand.
What?
You mentioned a couple of them. You didn't mention all of them.
I did. You're just half asleep.
I'm not half asleep at all. Who's opening the card? Like, what's the very first fight?
There's a couple of local fighters and Boots promotion fighters as well. And then Zaquin on the before the bell. And I think Shakram Giasov before the bell. And then we go Arturo Cardenas against Kato, Amari Jones, Ray Savage Ford against Matisse, and then Jerome Boots Ennis against Stanionis. We have a full packed schedule on fight week. Fight day 5K, the weigh-in on the Atlantic City as well. Follow the socials. Come down to Atlantic City.
All right, mate. Could you just run through the card exactly who's fighting?
You prick.
Right. Right, let's quickly run through some of the questions I've got for you. What the fuck's going on with Joshua? Don't palm me off with whatever.
There's a fly here as well. Fight news coming.
What
day is it today? What day is it today? Tuesday. Fight news coming Thursday.
Shut up. What? Hold on.
Ah! No. I don't really know. He's doing a pre-camp at the moment. I know you may have seen it. And then he's ready to get into camp in about 4 weeks. I don't want to say too much because there's not too much to tell you, if I'm honest.
Can you tell me the options?
What's the point? I mean, like, I say the same thing all the time. Do you want me to tell you the options?
Yeah, options.
Daniel Dubois, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, Ajit Kabiel, Zhilei Zhang. I don't know. I mean, Deontay Wilder.
Nothing there because looks like Dubois is going to fight Usyk. Usyk, yeah.
Yeah, Dillian White. I don't know. I mean, at the moment,
Jake Paul's going to fight Deontay Wilder, so that's another. Jake Paul and Deontay Wilder.
Is he?
Well,
We've not had any conversations with anybody yet. That's it. And there's no point doing that till he's 100% fit to start camp. Because till he is, I'm not going to put a date together until we know that he's 100%.
Okay.
So we're not like, he's 100% fighting. It's not like, but we're just going to do it right. We're going to get healthy and ready, and then we'll pull the trigger.
To your understanding, would you say that it's very likely that Dubois and Usyk happens in the summer?
I'm hearing that, like you're hearing that. But, you know, I would think that will be the fight, yeah.
Right, so that rules out Dubois. Okay.
Possibly, yeah, if that fight happens, yeah.
Possibly, okay, so...
But, you know, that fight's in July. I don't know, maybe AJ waits till October, November, and fights. If Dubois beats him, fights Dubois for undisputed. We're not, AJ's not, it's not like we're going, oh, bloody hell, quick, we've got to get the date in. We've got to be very selective at this point. It's only certain fights that really he's interested in that get him up for it. And of course, he's going to fight, but, you know, we'll wait for the opportunity. Who knows what Tyson Fury's going to do?
Yeah, but you've got to rule Tyson Fury out of everything.
Have you? I mean, have you really?
Yeah, come on. Like,
you know, I believe.
Eddie, unless you go to like their team and go, right, we want to do this XYZ, it's just...
No, because it's not. This is not down to us going to the team. This is down to one man. Only one man can make this fight happen. And that's Tyson Fury.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Turkey then.
No. There's one man that can make this fight happen, and that's Tyson Fury.
Waiting for him to come out of retirement at some point.
No, we're not waiting forever. But what I'm saying is, we're not. You know, if all of a sudden, in a couple of months' time, he goes out, and yeah, but it's not. You know, this ain't about calling him out to fight AJ. It's got to come from him. He's got to say, do you know what? He's got to wake up one morning and go. And by the way, he's training every day. Looks great, right? He's the one that's got to turn around and say, and I don't know him that well, but I know he's a competitor. And I know he loves to fight. And I know he loves the big nights. He's a showman. And like many, don't blame him, he likes a pound note. And I just know that those two collectively could give each other the icing on the cake of a great career. But as I said, only one man can make that happen. And we wish him well, whatever he does. Kiss a bell, mate. But and it's probably going to be. I said it the other day in the interview. The way that fight gets made is probably Tyson reaches out to AJ and says, "Mate, do you fancy it?" And he'll go 100%. Let's fucking do it, and it'll be made like that. But we'll see.
Can you rule out AJ versus Jake Paul now?
I mean, yes, because Jake won't fight him, but I would we would do that fight. Yeah.
Okay.
How can you not? I mean,
I know, but when I hear you talk about it, I just think because people think it's...
No, but I'm not even talking about it because I don't think it's a thing. I mean, 2026, not if you want to do it.
Do it now.
Yeah, but it won't,
Right, let's move away from AJ. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson and Zepeda.
Mm-hmm.
Purse bids?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a bit of a sticky one because we were looking to do 2 fights in Saudi. One was the first fight. Originally, it was going to be Cordina. Shakur was injured. Then it was going to be Schofield. Then it ended up being Padley. And then we were going to do the Zepeda fight. Obviously, timing-wise, there's now not going to be a show in Saudi in the summer. So there has been conversations about a potential fight with Shakur and Zepeda. But financially, it's different because it's not in Saudi. So right now, there's no agreement on that fight. One thing's for sure, Shakur Stevenson is the champion. He ain't stepping away from that fight. There's only one person that can step away from that fight, and that's Zepeda. But I don't believe he will step away from that fight. So today, I had a very positive conversation with Eric Gomez from Golden Boy, and we will be going to DAZN to say, let's make Shakur Stevenson against Zepeda happen. It's one of the best fights in the sport. And we'll have that conversation with DAZN this week. Obviously, we're at the benefit of Eric Gomez and Oscar with DAZN. We're with DAZN. Let's make the fight happen. It's a great fight. I said to Eric, maybe we could look at some kind of Matchroom Golden Boy 5v5 on the undercard as well. And let's do a huge show. So that's what we're pushing for at the moment. And from our side, 100%, Shakur Stevenson against Zepeda will be next.
What's happening with your 5v5 with Warren?
We are still planning it for July, August. And when His Excellency comes over for the Eubank-Benn fight, we will hopefully close everything off.
Have you penciled in your fights for it?
Yeah, we've sent him about 10 fights for it.
Oh.
And he will choose the lineup.
Okay. Is Josh Taylor and Jack Cattrall on that?
Might be.
Okay. Diego Pacheco.
Who's Diego Pacheco?
Diego Pacheco. He's your fighter, isn't he?
Diego Pacheco. Did you stop by the pub on the way home and have about 9 pints or something?
No. I fucking drove home, you fuck.
So Diego Pacheco is fighting.
Pacheco, yeah, Pacheco.
He will be fighting in June or July.
Yeah.
We've been in negotiations for a fight for a long time. We're also talking about the Mbili fight. We are mandatory with the WBO. We are number one. That we will be called as mandatory. If we fight for the WBC interim title, we lose that mandatory position with the WBO, which we already have. So we made the decision just to move forward with the original fight that we had planned, and that will be announced possibly this weekend, but probably next week.
Okay. Richardson Hitchens, Cambosis, MSG.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are some outlets that reported that fight is confirmed. It's not at all. We are not confirmed on New York. We are not confirmed on George Kambosos, but we are in discussions for Richardson Hitchens to fight George Kambosos in New York on June 14th. However, we've still got some work to do. Hopefully, we will get it done. I will sit down with the Zone this week. I will sit down with Keith Connolly. I will sit down with Lou DiBella and Jim Kambosos, and hopefully we can reach a deal. I think it's the perfect fight for both. I think there's great beef between the two. We saw Kambosos at the theatre MSG defeating Teofimo Lopez. He's coming off a good win. I like the fight. Let's make it happen. But hopefully we can get it over the line this week.
What did you make of yesterday's antics at Ipswich, Portman Road?
Yeah, I like the fight. I really do. I think it's a good fight. I mean, yeah, I'm very fond of both guys. Love Fabio, top boy. Jarrell, great guy. You know, I know we've had our ups and downs, but I like the guy. It was a very, very tough fight for Fabio Wardley. I think if Jarrell Miller comes in shape, I mean, Fabio's a real sharpshooter, and I think he's getting better and better. I still think he's underrated. But if Jarrell gets into the fight, I mean, I saw against Andy Ruiz, he's a good fighter. I mean, Andy Ruiz is a fucking good fighter. Jarrell beat him comfortably, in my opinion. I know it was a draw, but it's a good fight, really good fight. Great to do it outdoors. Another massive fight for DAZN.
What did you think of the antics? Was a bit too much? Or?
Yeah, I didn't really see it. I saw Frank Warren's clip where he said he didn't like it. I don't actually know what happened. I just kind of saw clips of him. Did he slap him?
Yeah, he slapped him around the top of the head. But there was a diss track that went out. You know, you've had a few people make diss about you in stock and all that, and Billericay and all that. So you know about it. But there was some track that went out, and Miller's convinced that Fabio had something to do with it, and that was the catalyst for the whole thing.
Those blasted diss tracks, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind. I mean, what I saw didn't look too bad, but you know,
it was a bit much. I'll be honest with you. We were saying it was a bit much, and
Frank, but that's Jarrell, isn't it? You never know with Jarrell.
He actually, I'm going to put this clip out tomorrow. So I interviewed Jarrell before the fight. I said to him, like, "Do you look at you and Anthony Joshua still unfinished business?" And he said, "Yes." I'm not going to say on here what he said. I'm just going to let that interview go out. But basically, what he said was he picked 5 women. And he said that if these 5 women were, in his words, bent over, this is what he said, right? He was Anthony Joshua, right? You can work out the things from that. But the point I'm trying to make is, could that fight still happen?
Well, okay, you could have just said that, but yeah. I mean, listen, the beef, we've still got a gloves are off that was gold. I can't believe we've actually never put it out, to be honest with you. Yes. I mean, if Big Baby beats Fabio, why not? I mean, look, I think AJ would love to have another fight in America, particularly. AJ fight anyone. I think the Big Baby fight is a big fight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is unfinished business for both, not just for Miller, but for AJ as well, the way that situation panned out. So we'll see. What about Dylan White?
Yeah, I was thinking about him the other day because did he get bit by a dog?
I don't know if he got bit by a dog, but his finger was fucked, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did the injury. Yeah, look, Dillian's still there for big fights. You know, I mean, I think we've got fights with Dillian. I don't know if he signed with Frank. I don't know what he's done, but you know, we've got fights for him. Still think Dillian White against AJ's got potential. To be honest, I don't think it's a fight we're sort of waiting out for. But if we can't get, you know, some of the other fights that we discussed, why not?
Ben Eubank, 2 weeks on Saturday. I mean,
it's going to be massive, mate. Massive. This fight is going to do so many pay-per-view buys. There's going to be so much attention. Fight week's going to be mental. We've got a massive run coming up now. Boots Stanionis this week, Dalton Smith next week, Ben Eubank the week after, Times Square on the Friday, Canelo on the Saturday.
Are you going to both?
I'm going to try and go to both if it's physically possible. Yeah. Johnny Fisher against Dave Allen. Less than, I think, 800 tickets left now for a complete sellout at the Copper Bosch, May 17th. It's a big run coming up. And as I said, can't wait for Ben Eubank. Can't wait for Boots Stanionis. But yeah, Ben Eubank's going to be absolutely massive. Connor's looking like a straight savage.
Just talk about next week. Dalton Smith, obviously, on the Saturday. Obviously, Easter weekend. Boxer have got a show on the Sunday. Um, we actually there's a clash with the. I know it's nothing to do with you, but the 7th of June date there's a clash with Boxer and Queensbury now, isn't there? With Callum Simpson and the Miller and Wardley fight.
Yeah, it's unlucky for. I mean, look, with that kind of thing, it's not none of them are my shows, but I guess that with outdoor shows, you really get 1 week. You get the week where they dig up the pitch or they're about to, right? So clearly that's the same date for Barnsley as it is for Ipswich. I feel a bit for Boxer because the Miller Wardley fight is a big fight. You know, and I like Callum Simpson, he's a good fighter, but obviously it's a big heavyweight night. So, but that's unlucky because it will just be down to the football clubs. They're both outdoors, and that'll be the week in between the end of season and the new season where the pitch will be dug up. So.
Right, two more things before I let you go. What have you made of this whole situation with Whitaker and Cameron, the contracts?
Well, again, I don't know. It's not my business, but as I understand it, Liam Cameron signed for a 12-round fight.
Yes.
That seems to be fact.
I asked you said, how does this happen? Like, how on earth?
Well, it's a little bit of inexperience. It's a mistake. Look, mistakes do happen. You know, sometimes you get sloppy, and you know it's not something we do. But maybe once I did. I can't remember ever doing that, but maybe once similar mistakes can happen. You know, it's a stinker. But the problem is now they've got you by the absolute short and curlies. I mean, what Ben Whittaker should be doing is coming out now going, no problem. 12 rounds it is, my son. That's what I mean. It's so much weakness now because it's like, hold on, you don't want to do 12 rounds with me, mate. Like, how can Whittaker not come out and just go, mate, I don't give a fuck if it's 10 or 12. You want 12? We'll have 12. But the fact they don't want to do 12 shows you there's concerns, right? So now, if I'm Liam Cameron, you've signed for 12 rounds. So it's like, if you want to change the contract, if you want to give yourself more of an advantage by doing fewer rounds, pay me. That's basically what's happened now. And now it'll be a case of, if you want to change the contract to 10 rounds, pay the man. And that's what will be going on now, and it'll be popcorn stuff. I mean, it'll be great to fucking watch behind the scenes because it's a major, major fuck up. And, you know, it is what it is, but it's got to be resolved.
Frank Warren's saying that if he was them, he just wouldn't change it. He wouldn't do anything. He would leave it as it is. But
yeah, obviously, look, they probably feel like, and Liam Cameron feels like, 12 rounds is a big advantage over 10 for him. You know, they think Whittaker will fade in the fight like he did in the first fight. But honestly, like, unless they really don't fancy the 12, I'll just come out and go, oi, what, you think I'm bothered about the rounds? Make it 15, motherfucker. You know?
okay.
All right.
All right. Listen, I've taken enough of your time this evening. You're somewhere in America, so have you got anything else you want to say, Edward? Like, have you got any words of
Have I what?
Have you got anything else you want to add before we finish?
No, just tune in on Saturday. Honestly, really proud. I was actually saying to my old man, I can't wait for, like, Boardwalk Hall. I said, when was the last time a British promoter went over, made a fight in front of 9,000 at the Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, big unification fight, best be the best at £147. And I'm really proud of the show we're putting on Saturday. I'm so proud of how well DAZN are doing. And just get on the journey, get on the buzz, and tune in on Saturday night.
Did you see Frank Warren's comments about Eubank-Benn?
No, what did he say? Oh, he don't like Eubank, does he?
No, he was asked the question why he wants, like, basically Conor Benn to win, and he said, in Frank's words, he said, because Eubank's a prick.
Yeah, he really hates him. Hates him. But listen, Eubank's good at what he does. He plays the game, and he's made the fight even bigger. So, but in 2 weeks' time, he's got to put up. And trust me when I say, Conor Benn's coming with bad intentions. Dangerous.
Are you going to do one of these launch events you used to do?
What, like a fight week
Yeah.
arrivals? Yeah, I believe so. Tuesday
You used
night.
to do, like, that was one of your best things you used to do. Like, with the whole,
Thanks. Yeah, Tuesday night will be ramped.
yeah.
Arrivals, workout, presser, weigh-in, massive fight week for a British blockbuster. That's how we do, baby. Don't miss it.
Is everything going to be in the evening? Like,
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
right, Edward, thank you very much for your time. And
All right, mate.
Colin will see you this week.
I will see Colin. Colin's doing my nutting. Oh, Edward, could I jump in your car? He wants to come with me from in New York down to Atlantic City, so I've got to take Colin.
Oh,
And then he wants to do a big interview in the car after I've just done 45 minutes with you.
I know, but you got to appreciate the grind.
Do you want to just do a screenshot, yeah? So you can post it and say that we've just done 45 minutes.
Yeah, let me just move.
Right, let me get the angle right. Hang on.
Let me get the angle right and all.
Right.
Hold on.
Let's do a great pout. Ready?
Hold on.
Okay. Tell me when, yeah? 3 seconds, yeah?
Hold on, bruv.
Hold on. Just put the chin out a little bit. So I've had a shave as well. I don't know if you noticed, but. Right.
Hold on. Ready? And
Got it?
yeah. Sweet.
All right, bruv.
Right.
Peace out, everybody. Stay blessed. Stay happy. See you on the other side.
Top man. Thank you very much, Edward Hearn.